all losers. We're all losers, Jenna. It reminds me of someone right now. We're total unabashed losers.
Your takes are still good, though, Nick. Your takes are still good.
Thank you. Well, listen, we all got it wrong. We all got it wrong. It's fine. America got it wrong. Nobody won the contest, so we win it next week.
That's a good point. And speaking of which, get your picks in before kickoff on Sunday for your chance to be a millionaire and not be a who's-er. All right, let's move on.
Good job, Jim.
Talk some
that.
Saints and Bucs. The New Orleans pass rush was swarming last night. If you watch this game, Tom Brady struggled mightily through 3 picks for the first time since 2011. Meanwhile, Drew Brees having himself a game, 4 touchdowns, as the Saints beat Brady and the Bucs for the 2nd time this season. Here's Brady after the game.
I certainly have to play a lot better, and turning the ball over against a good team never helps. We just didn't play the way we're capable of playing. Everyone's got to do a lot better, and it starts with me. And get back to work tomorrow morning and try to make it a better week.
Brandon, this is your team. You were high on this team coming in. Are you still behind the Bucs as Super Bowl contenders after what you saw last night?
100%. They just got out-coached, Jenna. When you look at what we talked about last week, Friday, previewing this game, one of the things I talked about was keeping the old man clean. They kept Drew Brees clean. They had an answer for what Todd Bowles threw at them. What stood out to me when I was watching this game was, reflecting back to my time in New Orleans. They literally have a coach that only focuses on offensive line, meaning protection. He'll fly in maybe once every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, almost semi-retired, and that's all he does. So for the past 3-4 weeks, I'm pretty sure they had a phenomenal game plan being built to stop Todd Bowles in all of these exotic blitzes. Then when you look at the defensive side, they did a phenomenal job of just smothering all their receivers. Mike Evans once again shut down. So when I think about this, it just goes to the coaching, being out-schemed. I think the players, they were in position. Their effort was great, but it comes down to scheme for me. And I will say this, as a player, I always wanted somebody that could stand up and say what I couldn't say in the media. So you got Tom Brady sitting at the podium last night saying, look, I threw 3 picks. That can't happen. That's on me, especially not against a good team. Basically what he said. Well, here's the deal. The first interception on the screenplay, the offensive line, your number 1 job is to keep the hands down of the defensive line. The left tackle didn't get that done. The second interception was on Antonio Brown, or just them being on different pages, miscommunication. And the last one, Nick, because I'm trying to get ahead of you right now, the last one was 4th and 7, and he had to heave it up because why take a sack in that situation? Give your guys an opportunity. You don't care about the interception at that point. So there you go, Tom.
That's fine.
Great point.
No, that's fine. But unfortunately, that does not help the Bucs at all when it comes to Super Bowl contention. Because at this point now, it is a math problem for them. And if it's a math problem, I've got the answer for them, and the answer is unsolvable equation. Because their chances of winning the NFC South now have dwindled to nearly 0. And if you don't win your division, you are going to have to win not only 3 playoff games, but 3 road playoff games. And as great as Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, has been his entire career, at home in the playoffs, he is 20-4. On the road in the playoffs, he is 4-4. And now he hasn't played a bunch of road games, but every year he's made the Super Bowl, they've had the bye, and he has always had at least 1, if not multiple, home playoff games. That's gone now. That would have been gone if they lost 6-3 or 38-3. In order for the Bucs to win the division, they are going to have to go undefeated the rest of the way. So it's not just that New Orleans is 2-0 against them in dominating victories. It's that they're 2-0 against them in any form or fashion whatsoever. The window narrows too much. So as Super Bowl contenders, no. Not if you're going to have to go on the road in round 1, round 2, and round 3. Just not going to be able to do it. So if they had won the division, then they'd have a real chance. The division's over for them Wilds. So yeah, like does it change my perception of Super Bowl contenders? 100%.
Well, I think you know who agrees with you? The entire Saints organization, because they had a party in the locker room that seemed like they just won the Super Bowl. It feels like they knew that they dispersed with Tampa Bay and the Gronkaneers. And there's one specific thing I want you to look. There's one horrible thing in this video, and that's with Jameis Winston breaking out his Eat a W. That's back, I guess. The great thing about this is lighting. We see so many celebrations with just the regular house lights on. The Saints are like, you know what? Break out the party lights. We got it at Spencer Gifts. Turn this thing into a party. They got colored lights. It's
they know how to party.
It's an oftentimes overlooked part of a locker room celebration. Proper lighting, Brandon. So I think they're happy. They know that Tampa Bay is not going to be an issue for them anymore. Great music.
Being in New Orleans for that little month that I was there, you know, I experienced a party. Every day was a party in New Orleans. And when I walked into that stadium, my wife and I, we were texting at halftime. I was like, man, this stadium is rocking. That was the first time I ever experienced a game. We're playing against the Philadelphia Eagles where the entire crowd was dancing. Now you fast forward to after the game, we win. We go in the locker room. That was the first time, Wilds, where I experienced a celebration like that. Lights, freaking sound system. It felt like they had a DJ in there. So New Orleans, as we all know, knows how to party.
But so there's no doubt about that. And you know, I feel like I probably should have stayed in this mood of the celebrations and partying more than I'm about to here. But instead, I'm going to show you scouts, which is just totally on brand for me while you guys are having a good time.
Fun.
Can we please look at what New Orleans and Tampa have left? Because
hey guys, want to see some schedules?
It's hard to find I know. It's a bad job by me. It's hard to find the requisite losses for Tampa Bay to not be celebrating a divisional title at the end of the year. So tell me the game Tampa's an underdog. At home against the Chiefs, maybe. That's it. Let's say they lose that game, okay? So now they have 3 losses. You know what? Let's give them another loss as well. Atlanta's playing decent. So let's say they split with Atlanta. Now they're 12-4. That would mean, even if New Orleans loses twice, Tampa's got to run the slate. Even if we give New Orleans 2 losses, Tampa has to go undefeated the rest of the way. It's not happening. And so that was why the Saints were celebrating like that. They know it. They know that they totally flipped the division on its head. They don't even have to play great football the rest of the year.
But that's never been their challenge.
Brandon,
listen, you're right. You're right about what you're saying and how you walked us through the schedule. And you can even add the Carolina Panthers to that list of teams that could potentially beat them. You can even add the LA Rams to that list. So it's not tough. I mean, it's not easy. It's just a tough outing for them. But at the end of the day, I said this before the season even started. They'll have a great regular season in New Orleans Saints. That's not their issue. Their issue is when they get to the postseason and these teams make the adjustments. When Todd Bowles finally figured out, like, you know what? You know, Drew Brees is built to get the ball out quick. So are we going to continue just to blitz him over and over and over again 50% of the time? No, he makes the adjustment. And then on the offensive side, Tom Brady starts running the ball. Byron Leftwich calls some more runs. They incorporate the play action again. They don't fall back 28-0 in the first quarter and a half. So when they make those adjustments, then what happens to New Orleans Saints? And that's been the storyline for them the last couple of years, is what happens in the postseason.
Hey, Nick, on the Nick Wright hater roulette wheel, I know you put a lot of chips on Tom Brady underperforming and also Taysom Hill overrated. One of those hit, one of those did not. Taysom Hill looked amazing. How are you dealing with, Monday morning quarterback Taysom Hill looking great?
So, listen, America, I'm glad you asked me this because I need to dispel this untruth about me and Taysom Hill. I have said every time I'm asked about Taysom Hill, there are 32 teams in the league that would love to have Taysom Hill on their team as a Swiss Army knife guy. He absolutely adds value to your roster, essentially filling 3 roster spots with just one body. But of those 32 teams, there are 0 that would want him as their starting quarterback. That is my beef with Taysom Hill, is the narrative that he is Drew Brees' heir apparent. He's not. He's not ever going to be a starting quarterback in this league, at least not for a team that wants to have any hopes whatsoever. So I don't dislike Taysom Hill. I dislike some of the narrative that next year that, he's going to be the guy who takes over for Drew Brees. No, he's not. And by the way, you know who also knows it? New Orleans. Because if you thought this guy was going to be your future starting quarterback, you wouldn't be asking him to run slot routes and hurdle guys. That's not his role. His role is to do exactly what he's doing. So I got no beef with Taysom Hill. And by the way, that Brady bet, I keep upping it. I keep putting more and more chips on it. So even if I did lose money on Taysom Hill, I'm just still counting the Brady winnings this morning. So I'm fine.
Taysom, though, real fun to watch. All right, other action. Giants pulling out the rare win yesterday, beating Washington. Not there to celebrate. Golden Tate told to stay home after an apparent outburst over how he was being used. No plans to cut him despite the benching, that according to reports. All right, Brandon, break it down for us. What do you make of what happened with Golden Tate?
What happened?
Yeah, one of the things that happened in my career is when I was always